$2,597 clues have come and gone, but 26 new ones are headed your way as part of this 98th episode of Disney 100 Jeopardy. Welcome in. As always, I am your host, Bryan Perri, and thank you so much for joining me. If you joined me last week for episode 97, you already heard that the 100th episode in this show's history will be a big one. 100 clues, and not only that, it will drop on January 1st, 2025. What better way to start off the new year than defeating your friends, your family, your loved ones, yourself in the biggest Disney trivia game of all time? I'm pulling out all the stops. I'm talking cruise line. I'm talking movies, shows, characters, villains, actors. My terrible drawings might make an appearance. Video games, all of it in the 100 clue episode that is episode 100. Really hope you'll join me for that one. But before we get there, we do have 2 full episodes to get through, including this episode 98, which will begin with last week's Final Jeopardy category. That, of course, was Disney Decades. I'll be giving you a clue on Disney history. You'll have to tell me what decade I'm talking about. If you don't like Disney history, why? Like, what are we even doing here? I do have 4 other categories to quiz you on, so hopefully you'll like one of those. So without further delay, let's take a look at the board. Once again, Disney Decades will kick the game off. The second category you'll be playing, Rotten Tomatoes. You know, nowadays, a lot of people judge a movie without even seeing it. They just check out the Rotten Tomatoes scores, both the critic and the audience scores, and determine if it's going to be a good movie or not. Don't do that. Shame. No, go see the movie. Support the theater. Anyway, I'll be giving you some stats about Disney films and their Rotten Tomatoes scores. You have to tell me what film I'm talking about. The third category you'll be playing, Christmas trees. That's right, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Holidays to everybody out there. I appreciate you spending these 20 minutes of your valuable holiday season with yours truly. In this category, I'll either be showing you a screenshot of a Christmas tree from a Disney film, or I'll be reading you a clue about the Christmas tree. You have to tell me what movie I'm showing you or talking about. The fourth category is your Disney Parks category of the week. It is, of course, holidays at the parks. And the fifth and final category, your Club DJ member category, is the Santa Claus. I should have known that when I included the runner-up that I've wanted for the last month, I want to say, deleted songs in a poll, it was once again going to finish as the runner-up. That is exactly what it did here, as the Santa Claus pulls in 50% of the vote. Of course people want a Santa Claus category. Now, this is all about the film from 1994. If you want to play a category on Santa in general, you can play last year's holiday special, which includes a category dedicated to Santa appearing in different forms of Disney media. And with that, it is now time for the easiest round of the game, the Cupcake Round. Each of these clues worth just 200 points each. Hopefully you ace it. Let's see if you do. It begins with Disney Decades. The decade the Disney Company was founded. Well, we hit our 100th anniversary in 2023, which helped launch this show. If you do the math, 100 take away. Oh, that's right. The 20s. $1923 to be exact. On to the second clue of the game. It's from Rotten Tomatoes. The lowest rated Pixar movie, according to both critics and audiences, at 39% and 49% on the critic and audience scores. The correct answer is Cars 2. On to the third clue of the game. This one's from the category of Christmas trees. But hold the phone, because it is time for the Daily Double. This is the 2,600th clue in Disney 100 Jeopardy history, and because it's the Daily Double, you can wager as much as 1,000 points. I suggest you do it because It's easy. I'll go out and say it. It's a pretty easy clue. I will be showing you the Christmas tree. You have to tell me what film it's from. If you're not confident though, let's make an itty bitty wager. All right, time's up. Let's see the clue. And there's your Christmas tree. What film is it from? The correct answer, of course, is The Nightmare Before Christmas. On to clue 2601. Let's visit the parks. Who cares what type of holiday movie it is? Nightmare Before Christmas takes over this classic Disneyland ride at the end of every year. Ain't nothing wrong with 2 nightmare clues in a row. I haven't met someone who doesn't like that movie. The correct answer here is The Haunted Mansion.
Season's greetings, everyone!
On to the final clue of the cupcake round. It's the Santa Claus for 200. This Disney legend played Scott Calvin / Santa in the movie. Just a year before he voiced Buzz Lightyear, Tim Allen played Santa.
I say name, you say Scott Calvin. Name?
Kris Kringle, Santa Claus, Père Noël, Babo Natale, Père Nicole, Papa Gijo.
Christmas cupcake round complete. Let's shift over to the 400-point round, which is going to be a little tougher. Here comes Disney Decades for the second time. The decade that included the most Pixar releases, with 11. Well, you know it's not the 2020s, those haven't been long enough, and you probably know it's not the 90s. There were just a handful of Pixar movies back then, so was it the early 2000s or the 2010s? The correct answer is 2010s. On to Rotten Tomatoes for the second time. With a 52% critic score and 29% audience score, this Disney feature animation movie combines for a total of 81 out of a possible 200 percentage points, ranking it the worst received film in feature animation history. So that's a pretty big discrepancy, 52% to 29%. Critics said it was alright, audience said pfft. The correct answer here is Home on the Range.
Maybe they just didn't like your singing.
My singing? I yodel, and yodeling is an art!
Now for those keeping track at home, I'm sure a lot of you guessed Chicken Little. I'll show you the scores for Chicken Little right there. 37% on the critic score, 47% on the audience score. You combine those, it'll give you 84 percentage points, just 3 points more than Home on the Range. It is interesting that critics disliked Chicken Little more, but audiences said, hey, it's not that bad. And quite frankly, that's how I feel. I think it's bad, but it's not Home on the Range. Let's move on. Here comes your second Christmas tree. Ooh, I gave you a quick glance of a character in it. Can you tell me what film this is from? If you look closely, that was Andy's mom on the left. The correct answer here is Toy Story.
Which one can I open first? Let's let Molly open one.
We're heading down to the parks at the busiest time of year. Let's see what we got. Winter Summerland Mini Golf lets you play some festive holes just outside of this Disney water park. The correct answer is Blizzard Beach. On to the Santa Claus for the second time. Scott becomes Santa after this happens to the previous one. What is he falls off a roof?
Hey, you! What's that? Whoa, whoa!
what happened to the Santa that fell off the, like, is that addressed in the Santa Claus 2 or 3 or the show? I don't know, because that's a little dark, if you ask me. Guy falls off a roof and he's gone. Kind of sad. Let's move on. 600-point round begins with Disney decades. During the 1950s, 4 out of the 5 released Disney feature animation films had a character's name in the title. This was the only one that didn't. Now, yes, I did give you the decade here, so I'm not asking you what decade I'm talking about. I'm simply asking you a question about some Disney history in the 1950s. I'll put it back on the screen. Again, what Disney feature animation film did not feature a character's name in the title during the 1950s? All right, so let's travel back to the 50s to get the answer. First up, 1950, Cinderella obviously has Cinderella's name. Then you got Alice in Wonderland, obviously has the name Alice. Peter Pan is the third movie. The fourth movie, Lady and the Tramp, they all have names. That leaves one film left. What was it? Sleeping Beauty. And don't even try to say her name is Sleeping Beauty. No. Aurora or Briar Rose. That's what you get. Or Mrs. Phillip. If is that his last name? I don't even know if that's his last name. Whatever. It's definitely not Sleeping Beauty, though. Let's move on. Here comes your second clue from the 600s. It brings us to Rotten Tomatoes. Match the following scores to the movies. Spider-Man No Way Home, The Force Awakens, and Avatar need to be matched with the 3 scores below. You've got the critic score of 93, audience of 97, critics 93, audience of 84, and critics 81, audience 82. Once again, match the scores to the movies. I'll give you 10 seconds on this one. All right, lock those answers in. The correct answer is in the order that you see. 93-97 belongs to No Way Home. 93-84 to The Force Awakens, and 81-82 to the biggest film of all time, Avatar. Here comes Christmas Tree number 3. Do you recognize who that character is? If you do, it should give you the answer to what film this Christmas tree appears in. That character's name is Anita, which of course is a character from 101 Dalmatians.
Roger, after all, that's your first big hit. It's made more money than we ever dreamed of.
Yes, I know.
Back to the parks we go for 600 points. This classic Walt Disney World attraction gets a holiday overlay during Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party. Listen to this festive audio and identify the ride it's associated to. That sounds like an electric guitar version of Deck the Halls, which can be heard on Space Mountain. All right, here we go. Final clue of the 600s. Back to the Santa Claus we go. The dining establishment that Scott brings Charlie to on Christmas Eve after burning their turkey. Who doesn't love Denny's?
I'm dreaming of a white Christmas.
All right. Denny's. It's always open.
I don't want to eat here.
All right, we are more than halfway through the game. We're moving on to the 800-point round. This Disney decade clue that's about to come your way is like the last one. I'll let you know now it's about the 90s. Let's see how well you remember that Disney decade. Here we go. During the 90s, Disney Feature Animation released 9 films. This number of them had a title that began with the word the. What say you we go back to that lovely era of the Disney Renaissance when Disney released hit after hit after hit? How many of them began with the word the? The 90s began with
Walt Disney Pictures' The Rescuers Down Under.
That's 1. Beauty and the Beast did not have the word. Aladdin didn't either, but The Lion King did. That's 2. Nope for Pocahontas. Yes for The Hunchback of Notre Dame. No for Hercules. No for Mulan. And finally, no for Tarzan. So the correct answer is 3. On to Rotten Tomatoes for 800 points. This straight-to-Disney Plus movie is Disney's lowest rated live-action remake, shockingly scoring 27% from both audiences and critics. That's hard to do. Ironically, it's one of Disney's only animated films to receive a 100 from the critics score. The correct answer here is Pinocchio.
It's not my fault. I never wanted to be famous.
On to the third clue from the 800s. We're back to Christmas trees. Where can you spot this guy? Correct answer is in Lady and the Tramp. Here we go with holidays at the parks for 8. Every night during the holiday season, this character puts on the final touches to turn Cinderella Castle into a shimmering, crystallized palace. Back in the day, it used to be the fairy godmother who lit Cinderella Castle, which makes sense when you think about it being Cinderella Castle. But then 2013 came along and Elsa said, "Out of my way, it's my job." So yep, that's the correct answer, Elsa. On to the final clue from the 800s. It's time for the Santa Claus. This reindeer is the only one we see Santa talk to, and he happens to be Charlie's favorite. Who is Comet? I will say we do see Santa mistake Comet for Rudolph early in the film, which it's just like, that's like the one reindeer you can't mistake him for. It makes absolutely no sense.
Oof, easy, Rudolph.
Excuse me, Comet.
Okay, 20 down, 6 clues remain, including Final Jeopardy. But before we get there, you know what time it is. It is time for the most overly dramatic soundtrack reviews unnecessarily. Spotlight part of the game, the 1,000-point round. Hit it. I just realized this obviously isn't the last 1,000-point round, but I don't know if I'm going to include one in the 100th episode since it'll have 100 clues, so next week might be, I don't know, whatever, we'll see. Kicking off the 1000s, it's Disney Decades. Since the opening of Disneyland and excluding the 2020s, this is the only decade thus far where Disney did not open a new theme park. The correct answer is the 1960s. Rotten Tomatoes for the final time. With a critic score of 48% and an audience score of 80%, this Disney feature animation film released in the last 10 years has the biggest discrepancy in scores at 32 percentage points apart. Oh, one of the first clues in this game, we talked about Home on the Range and the big discrepancy there. I believe that was 52% to 29%. Do some quick math. That's a difference of 23 points. This obliterates that. How many points is this? 32 points apart. What is the correct answer? I gave you the hint that it was within the last 10 years. How about it was within the last 2 years? The correct answer is Wish. On to the next clue of the game. It brings us to Christmas trees. No screenshot here. Instead, the clue reads, the famous Rockefeller Center Christmas tree makes an appearance in the last scene of this MCU film. I did make mention of the movie earlier. The correct answer is Spider-Man No Way Home. Final clue from Holidays at the Parks. Before moving to the Streets of America portion of MGM Studios, the Osborne lights lit up this section of the park, a section that was eventually demolished for the Lights, Motors, Action Stunt Show. What is Residential Street? Final clue on the board before Final Jeopardy. It's time for the Santa Claus. The type of milk Sarah leaves Santa near the end of the movie. Well, a year prior, he told her that he was lactose intolerant, so she was very thoughtful. She left him soy milk.
I think the milk's a little sour.
It's soy milk.
Huh?
You said you're lactose intolerant.
And there you have it. 25 clues are down, but one remains, and it just so happens to be the one clue that will ultimately determine how proud of yourself you will be for the next 7 days. It's episode 98's final Jeopardy clue. Let's see what it's about. Pixar Eats. Okay, I've done food categories in the past over the course of the first 97 episodes of this show, but this one is specifically catered to Pixar. Oh, catered! Oh, not bad. Anyway, yes, this one's all about Pixar. I'll show you a screenshot from a Pixar movie, and then I'll read a clue that has to do with that screenshot. If you think you know your Pixar films, and specifically food in them, make a big wager right now. Might I add that this Pixar Eats category is also presented by our new sponsor, WithLove. Parents, you are going to love this, especially if you have kids who are picky eaters. WithLove makes an all-natural supplement that you can sprinkle on top or mix into your child's favorite food. Not only is it sweet, but it also only has 8 real ingredients, all being packed with protein and vitamins. If you want to make sure that your family stays healthy and energized while trekking through a 12-hour park day on your next trip to Disney, just bring WithLove on your next Disney vacation. Check them out by clicking the link in the description of this video. Okay, here we go. It's your final Jeopardy clue. Scene here is Bonnie about to serve up a burger to Woody. She tells him that she's included a special ingredient on the burger. What is it? Good luck. And time is up. Look, I love all kinds of weird burgers. I remember the ESPN restaurant that they demolished for that obscenely expensive cake restaurant now at Walt Disney World had a peanut butter and jelly burger, which was delicious. This one that Bonnie made, I'm a little apprehensive about because her secret ingredient was jelly beans.
Who wants lunch? Beep boop, beep boop. It has a secret ingredient. Jelly beans.
Somebody's poisoned a water hole.
Poison?
That does it for episode 98 of Disney 100 Jeopardy. Shout out to all the Club DJ members. You guys are the best. And honestly, thank you for picking the Santa Claus in the poll this past week because it forced me to see the Santa Claus again, a movie that I hadn't seen in 15 to 20 years, whatever it's been. And I honestly enjoyed it. But now it's time to pick deleted songs, all right? Well, honestly, that's up to you. There are your options, deleted songs. Once again, the runner-up, I feel like for the 17th time in a row. Will it be crowned the victor? You'll have to join me in episode 99 next week to find out. Also, if you're interested in WithLove, visit the description below this video and click the link to pick yours up today. Now you know the deal. If you like what you saw, do me a favor, subscribe, click that bell icon. Hello, bell. This way, you're notified every time we come out with brand new content. I've been your host, Bryan Perri. I will see you in just 7 days for episode 99. Until then,
bye-bye.